Hello, everyone. This is Tom Fox. I would like to welcome you to the Sunday Book Review. The Sunday Book Review is the series where I discuss books which impact the compliance practitioner, the legal professional, and the business professional. I hope you will enjoy this episode. January 21, 2020, the Collins Sentenced Edition. And we'll start with our lead story from the Washington Post, as on Friday, a federal judge sentenced former Congressman Chris Collins to 26 months in prison for his part in an insider trading scheme and lying to the FBI. Judge Vernon Broderick said you had a duty to meet and you betrayed that duty. Collins, one of the very first congressmen to endorse Donald Trump and fully embrace the entire Trump oeuvre, had warned his son and others about a biotech company's failure with inside information he had from his congressional work. He said, I stand here a disgraced former congressman. I cannot face my constituents. What I have done has marked me for life. So yet another congressman bites the dust. From the Wall Street Journal up in Canada, the chief financial officer, I should say former chief financial officer of Huawei's extradition hearing has begun in Canada. There have been a prolonged series of legal battles expected to be fought over this, and the United States wants to extradite the former CFO to the United States to stand trial. Her actions apparently were not a crime in Canada, but are in the United States, or at least alleged to be in the United States. So it's going to be very interesting to see what will happen here. For the United States parts, it may be do not wish what you get what you wish for, because if she is extradited to the United States and the daughter of the head of Huawei is put on trial, it will no doubt be very unsettling for U.S.-Chinese relations. Next up, from the New York Times, a 737 crash near Amsterdam more than a decade ago focused blame on the pilots for failing to react properly when an automatic system malfunctioned. While the fault was hardly the crew's alone, it has eerie presaging of the MAX 737 MAX crisis that started with the planes crashing in Indonesia and Ethiopia. The parallels to the case, according to the New York Times, were striking, and it led by resistance of the Americans to allow full airing of the findings that later proved relevant to the 737 MAX. So yet again, another misstep by Boeing in their long series of missteps, which led to the 737 MAX crisis. And they're still paying a price for having a corrupt culture. And finally, from the Houston Chronicle, the Trump administration gives 5 energy companies another 3 months to do or wind down, perhaps, business in Venezuela. In a decision just before midnight Friday, the Treasury Department granted waivers to Chevron, Schlumberger, Halliburton, Baker Hughes, and Weatherford to allow them to continue to do business with Venezuela until April 22nd. I guess these companies are sort of playing the long game because they certainly haven't been paid by Venezuela or PDVSA, the Venezuelan national oil company, in many years. And they are, I suppose, are holding on to a time when either there is regime change or PDVSA actually has cash to start paying its creditors. As for the U.S. part, it once again shows that the firm blockade against PDVSA and Venezuela is permeable, and the announcements of the Trump administration of tough sanctions are not really those that turn out under the light of day to be as robust as previously claimed. So when we get to mid-April, we will have to see what the Trump administration does, if they will extend these waivers again or not. So once again, good news for the energy industry in Houston. Hope you have enjoyed this episode of the Daily Compliance News, which is a production of the Compliance Podcast Network and a proud member of C-Suite Radio. Thanks again.